Hello. Hi. I'm Asan Manasa. Manasa. Nice
Hi,
to meet you.
nice to meet you too.
We'll let folks trickle in here. It's always nice to see new faces. Hi, Jordan. Hi, Christopher. I just got back to my desk. I've been out and about, getting around. Starting to get cold here in northern Utah, which is
Oh,
kind of
where in
welcome.
Utah are you?
I'm in. Are you familiar? Are you here in Utah?
Yeah, I'm in Salt Lake City.
Oh, I'm in Heber. Yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah. So it's starting to cool down, which is welcome. We really enjoy the skiing. Enjoy the
That's what I
skiing
was
out
gonna
here.
ask. Yeah, you're so
Yeah.
close to all the nice skiing spots.
Yeah, door to door about 12 minutes.
Uh-huh.
So it's I'm kind of lisping, whitening my teeth right now. I just came back from the dentist, so it's an opportune time to whiten the teeth. If that sounds funny. All right, anyway, let's jump in. I have half an hour, Manasa. So I do this once a week. I've been part of the NSA now for a while. I moderated two job search councils a while back. Everybody's since moved on, so I'm not moderating anymore. But I've been recruiting since 2013, and in a former life, I was in software product development and product management. In former life, I had a mini career in engineering, mechanical engineering.
Oh, okay.
So I've had a bit of an eclectic career journey. Anyway, really no format here. It's just sort of ask me anything. But my intent really to shed some light on the recruiting process, the recruiter mindset, how to partner with recruiters, just to help folks navigate their job search more effectively and to temper that those ups and downs, the emotional roller coaster of ups and downs that really comes with this job search journey, especially nowadays. So yeah, I don't really have much of a format or structure other than sort of ask me anything and happy to explore with everybody.
Sounds good.
I didn't post this in the NSA Slack today, so we have an intimate group here.
Yeah, that's how I found your information at the
Yeah, I forget. I mean, because I do it manually. Sometimes I post it to remind folks. Sometimes I don't. And
I
anyway.
think somebody else had posted it.
Oh, okay. Oh, they
Yeah.
reposted my post. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I told my job search counselor to come, but none of them showed up. So
I appreciate the promotion, Jordan. Sometimes I like it smaller because it becomes, it's a little bit easier for everybody to engage. If there's a lot of times if there's more than five, six people, if there's more than that, people get quieter and it's less engaging, and then I just end up talking the whole time, which I don't have a problem with. It's just so
I guess I was gonna if you I've never gone, to through a job search through a recruiter. Just so yeah,
yeah,
like any thoughts and tips and insights that you could share.
yeah, sure. So I mean, a recruiter can be your biggest advocate and ally as part of the process. It's sort of how do you sort of win their good graces, I guess. I mean, part of it is just, I really enjoy people. I enjoy people when I enjoy working with folks that where I can make a human connection with them, right? And where I can see myself, even if this particular position is not the right position for them or they're not the right person for the position, that I would still stay in touch with them. I was joking with the gentleman that I think reached out to me yesterday, because I posted something and he messaged me and he was just, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, it's going well. And then I looked the last time he and I connected and it was 6 years ago. And I was joking about it because, most people are not in the job search mode. Even the cadence is maybe like every 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever, right? So it's a long cycle. And so I've been in this long enough to see people I work with and then, then there's a lull, and then
Hmm.
they come back after X number of years, and then I reconnect with them or we reconnect somehow. And so the cadence doesn't have to be like staying in touch every week, every month, every quarter. In some cases, it's every half decade.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, the point is, I enjoy personally as a recruiter. And I can't speak for all recruiters. I enjoy connecting with people that I don't know. They bring a good energy. I could see being sort of I don't know friends with them. And I guess if you can kind of send that energy along, people like to work with people that they like to work with, right? So I guess my suggestion is be that person, and also like you take the effort, again, it doesn't have to be every week or every month or every quarter, but like take the effort to just, maybe find a good recruiter that you can stay in touch with and ping them every year or whatever, right? It doesn't have to be every quarter or every month or anything like that, but every year or whatever, it'll allow you to sort of start to foster a long-term relationship. But yeah, recruiters can be a big advocate and champion if you win their good graces. And Part of it is, obviously being a fit for the immediate role, but the other part of it is just, one of the things that I evaluate people for is just sort of that intangible chemistry fit that they would have with the team. And a lot of times, the a lot of that overlaps with, if I would work with that person or enjoy working with that person, a lot of times, that's sort of the filter for I could see the client working well with that person. So a lot of times that overlaps. Hope that helps.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I hope you don't hear me like messing with these trays in my mouth. It's kind of weird.
No worries. I've had that done. This was a while back. It's just a weird, weird sensation.
Yeah, yeah. And these trays are like 20 years old, so they fit a little bit strangely now. Jordan, Christopher, what do you guys got? Doesn't even have to be questions, it could be comments. How are things going on out there? What are you guys seeing in the world, the in your job application, interviewing, networking world?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really have much. I just came to look and maybe absorb some knowledge. But I guess I'm wondering if you've heard of this book called The 2 Hour Job Search.
I've heard the book. I haven't
And
read it.
okay, yeah, because I've been reading it. I quite like the approach. It recommends basically like reaching out to target people at a company that you want to work at and basically try and like build a connection with them. And then that way you can hopefully get a referral to a role, which I guess the thing is I've been applying to a lot of jobs online and just because you know how job applications are these days, they put up a thing on LinkedIn and
Yeah.
it gets flooded with
Yeah.
resumes. So that's why I'm trying to go through this alternative approach and I guess more networking than applying online.
Yeah. I mean, you have to do a lot of times, I mean, I recommend doing both, and sort of a multi-pronged approach. I don't think you
Right.
can rely on any one sort of channel. And, with respect to referrals, some companies incentivize referrals more aggressively than others. And you could probably just do a quick search to figure out which companies do. And so, similar to a recruiter, somebody that's internal, not necessarily a recruiter, but just somebody that might be at the same company that you're interested in, they could be a big advocate on your behalf. If you're able to, if they're not in the same function or department, they could at least sort of be a character reference. Like, hey,
Right.
Jordan would be a great fit here, at least from a cultural perspective, right? And that, an email or a referral coming from somebody internal, for recruiters, that's a big thing because it'll get to the top of the stack. Not to say that, not to say you'll move forward, right? But imagine, the recruiters are looking to filter noise, right? And if somebody internally sends an email to them saying, "Hey, take a look at Jordan," even if it's just that, higher probability that you're going to get eyeballs on your LinkedIn profile
Yeah.
or on your resume for sure.
So what are your thoughts
Um,
on the job market right now? I mean, from from like all of you, honestly.
It's been a tough, gosh, 2 years, 2.5 years, because we feel it on the recruiting side, right? I run a
Yeah.
recruiting firm that helps companies hire, so I'm not internal to any single company. We act internally for a portfolio of companies at any given time, but it's been tough because a lot of companies have been scaling back the hiring, and even a client that we're working with right now, they're very AI forward, and their philosophy is not go and hire a bunch of people. And they're not looking to get to 50 people. For them, that's not 50 or 100 people. That at least right now, in the foreseeable future, that's not like their measure of growth. That's not an indicator of
Yeah.
growth necessarily. I mean, in fact, they're looking for folks that are very they have integrated AI into their workflow, into their craft, and yeah. So actually, for a given position right now, we're looking for somebody that has done that with AI, and even though they would be a sort of manager or director level person, we're not looking for somebody that just wants to build a big team or inherit a big team. So yeah, it's this whole AI thing is changing. I think it's going to change how work is done, how teams are formed, even how some of these companies evolved. I think is it Sam Altman that was talking about like eventually there'll be $1 billion one person company. And so I think that's sort of the direction things are going. I don't know what that means for the rest of us, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's
And I
there's no
also think about if like, people don't have jobs, right? Then they're not gonna buy anything apart from like the basic stuff. So who's gonna prop up the consumer economy that exists? Like that's something that like way down the line, like you're selling all these products, but who's going to buy them?
That's crazy, like yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know how that plays out. And so what does that mean for us today? I think part of it is just making sure that you are up to speed with the new technologies and how they might integrate into your craft or your profession. Uh, I mean, pivoting outright into a completely different. I think most of the folks that are in the NSA are, knowledge workers. I mean, one alternative is to go completely outside of that and go, become a tradesperson or something like that. But pivots are hard, right?
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
maybe there's a multi-pronged approach to that. I'm not sure. I mean, your guess is as good as mine, but I think what I'm seeing is that companies are trying to do more with less, and AI is starting to increasingly enable them to do that. And so, what we're seeing is companies that are, they're less inclined to hire folks earlier in their career, but they're more inclined to hire somebody that's more mid-level in their career, and even not going so senior to either, because as people get more senior in their career, it's sort of that old dog new tricks kind of thing. And a lot of folks that are a little bit more senior, especially if they've moved away from being an IC, they're accustomed to building a human based team or
That is
inheriting one.
interesting.
So the folks that are sort of mid to senior, where maybe they have a little bit of management experience, but they're not necessarily the manager. They haven't been, the last 5 years hasn't just been pure management where
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
running a
yeah.
team. It feels like that's kind of where some of these companies are going in terms of biasing their hiring. A lot of them are, and I'm speaking anecdotally, right? But it seems like that's the trend, like a flatter organization, folks that have enough domain expertise or functional expertise to be strategic, but also to be execution focused, and that are progressive enough to implement and leverage AI to really support the execution side and integrating that actively into their workflow. So what does that mean? What we look for as far as vetting for AI experience, we look for folks that have sort of a experimental mindset, right? They are experimenting with different tools, and even with different, not even just different tools, but different ways to apply and iterate around prompting, around, collecting data and teasing insights out of it, automation. And they know full well that you can't just delegate a bunch of stuff. You have to have sort of that systems mindset, right? Of how do
Yeah.
things come together? How do tools, people, process, how does that all come together? Right? And understanding what the implications are if you shift from this tool to another tool, and where there might be failure points or points where things need to get escalated to human, so that the human can provide their judgment. The human in the loop can provide their judgment call on things. And so sort of that system mindset, moving from just a consumer of AI to somebody that's actually like integrating it and sort of building with it, right?
Yeah.
So you're not just using whatever, ChatGPT for inputs and outputs. You're like integrating it into a larger system. And so that kind of mindset is what we're looking for. Not that you have to be perfect in it, but
Mhm.
just more than just a straight user of
Yeah,
my
I think, yeah,
prompts. You
kinda,
know?
yeah, got a sense of, like, in terms of, like, hiring, I don't wanna take a bit like, Jordan or Christopher have questions, I can easily manipulate, sort of monopolize this conversation, so I don't
No, I
wanna
appreciate the engagement.
I can ask the question.
Go ahead, yeah.
Um, so I had a call with an internal recruiter, and she said in the nicest Midwestern way possible that the hiring manager won't move forward with my candidacy or an interview with the hiring manager unless I confirm that I'm okay with the range or the budget. And it's lower than what I used to make. And she wanted a simple yes or no answer via email. And I wanted to know what your perspective is on that.
How much lower is the range than, like, is it still within the realm of possibility for you?
The top of the range is slightly lower than what I used to make. So I guess it's within the realm of possibility.
Okay. Well, without knowing any other details in terms of like what the company has to offer as far as perks or beyond, what other
Seems
monetary.
like they have the standard
Mhm.
benefits that all the other.
Is it a larger company?
It seems like it's not a larger company. You mean number of employees or annual revenues?
Number of employees or
It's a
stage?
tiny company. It's 3,000 people.
Oh, that's a tiny company?
Yeah.
I was like, "That's not too small."
You must be used to working with ginormous companies. For me, that's
Yeah.
a giant company. Yeah, so the reason I asked about the size of the company is a lot of times if a company is larger or more established, then chances are their processes and their budgets are a little more rigid. Like I'm accustomed to working with startups, sub 50 person companies, And a lot of times at that stage, the comp ranges are much more fluid because if they find the right person, they're not going to balk over an additional $5,000. Sometimes they're not even going to balk sometimes for another 20 grand, right?
What about a company that's 5,000 employees? They're going to be more rigid, right?
Yes. Typically, in my experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I understand.
So I guess what that means for you is like, if that comp range is still within the realm of possibility, and without you, I mean, again, I don't know, it doesn't sound like you had too many conversations with them. I would just agree to it, and then give you an opportunity to just to learn more and see what it's all
Yeah.
about.
I
Right.
said that that range works for me at this time. I wrote her an email because she wanted an answer via email.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. And if that recruiter, did you have a chance to size? I'm always talking about like sizing up the recruiter. Like, you want to know who you're dealing with on the other end. So did you have a chance to look up his or her like LinkedIn profile?
I should have because I learned during the interview that she's been there for a long time. I forgot I even had this interview, to be honest with you. So I was a little bit caught by surprise when she called me and and I gave that away, but I didn't outright say, oh, I forgot that we had this interview. But I think it might have been obvious. So yeah, I looked her up
Are you getting
during,
that many, Christopher? Are you getting that many interviews?
I'm getting a bunch, yeah.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
wow, lucky you.
Yeah,
That's
that's
No, but
nice.
I
awesome.
never get any offers, that's the problem. The only offers I get are all part-time.
Mm,
I did look her up during the interview and after the interview. Yeah, she hasn't worked for any well-known, all the companies are no name.
okay.
But
Just
that's
I mean, the reason
fine. Nothing wrong with that.
nothing wrong with that. I guess the reason I'm just asking is just, sometimes recruiters, especially if they're earlier in their career, they have a very rigid checklist.
Oh, no, she's even older than me. She's got 3 years more than me. She's got 18 years of work
Okay.
experience.
Okay. So regardless, whether she's earlier in her career or not, it sounds like, she just has a sort of a template or a checklist of criteria. Maybe she has a lot of applicants, there's a lot of people, and she just needs to filter. So if you're even remotely not good with the range, she'll go with somebody that all the same to her is good with the range.
It's really topsy-turvy, this market, because I thought I don't live in suburban Connecticut. I live in Queens, New York. I live at the border of Long Island, and I'm willing to make the drive up to Connecticut. But even these suburban Connecticut roles are so competitive. This is not normal. It would be much more of a shoe-in,
Yeah.
I mean, any major tech company, you should be able to get at least an interview, like a first round past a recruiter. But nowadays, it's hard to even get the hiring manager interview in suburban Connecticut for a 3,000 person company.
But it sounds like you're getting interviews, which is really
I am, yeah.
seems encouraging, you know?
I mean, she was really nice. She wasn't passive aggressive either. I really liked her. It was just, I did need to give her an answer, which I gave her in the end over email.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I think
probably
that's a fine.
I think if I were to do it over, I would have given it to her at the end of the call instead of waited until after email because then it sounds like I'm not really that excited, which I guess I'm not.
You're not excited about the comp range?
Yeah, I'm not, but that's okay. As you said, it's within the realm of possibility.
Yeah, and there may be other levers that could be pulled, right? Like if if they're constrained in terms of like monetary or like base, there might be other things that you can negotiate later down the line. You don't know, right?
Yeah.
The other thing too is if the range is markedly different than your range, like you have to question too, right? Is that
It's like a $5,000 difference between the low end of my range and the top of theirs. It's not that much.
okay? So it's within the realm of possibility, as you said. So um,
Do you like
yeah.
the job, like the description and what you'd be doing?
Yeah, it sounds interesting enough. I like it. I've grown to like that type of work. It's like an acquired taste. But yes, I do like it.
Are you finding that a lot of recruiters are having this conversation with you in the first call or the first email interaction?
Oh yeah, not only that, they're doing very deep dives, whereas they weren't like this before.
Yeah.
These are like nice people, but they're very they're very nice, but they're doing very probing questions, whereas it wasn't like this 3 years ago. They did not have a leg up over us. Now they're doing like real hiring manager style interviews, the recruiters with you.
Yeah.
That's what happened either last year or this year it started.
Yeah, and I think that seems consistent with just, trying to filter out a bit more because there's just so many
Mhm.
folks that are coming inbound.
They just don't have time to waste. And then it's a bad impression if they send someone that isn't a match. So
Yeah. Are most of you folks doing Zoom interviews? Are they video?
yeah, unfortunately, it's all Zoom, which is a disadvantage for me because I like reading the captioning and then they think I'm using AI. That's another thing I wanted to ask you about. They think the recruiters and hiring managers think I'm using AI for my answers. They said I sound mechanical and I'm reading off something, but it's actually my own answers and I'm just scripted, but I'm not reading off of anything. And that's why I really like in person. I was supposed to have an in person this week, and then the hiring manager just rescheduled. But I've only averaged like, I think in total since the pandemic, I've probably only had 4 or 5 in persons since the pandemic. It's all on Zoom.
Yeah.
It's probably, yeah, one per year I'm batting at this
When
point.
you say you like to use the captions, what captions are you using? Like,
The Zoom or Teams captions.
so when the other person's speaking,
Yeah, when
it's
they're
transcribing.
speaking. Because I mean, I can hear what I'm saying, but I mean, I might need to refer to myself, but that's pretty rare.
Interesting. So you're reading, like, for example, I'm talking right now. You would like Zoom would be transcribing, and you'd be reading
Yeah.
what I'm saying in real
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I try to glance back, but then now I'm realizing I shouldn't do that. And sometimes I look on their company website, and then that makes it look like I'm reading off, which I am, I guess. I'm just glancing, but I shouldn't even do that. So I think from now on, I'm gonna try to not look at the captions and then just sit back as far as possible so that they know I'm not at my keyboard and not look at the company website or job description when I'm on an interview. That's what because then they think but then the other problem is that I still sound very robotic. So one mentor or person, informational interview person told me I need to ask questions as well. And then it sounds more conversational.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I sound very robotic during interviews. I'm not sure what to do, Eric.
Nothing. The thing I would suggest is tell them that, this is like the way I speak might sound robotic, but this is just how I am. So
I
bear with
told
me.
them that. I don't know that he believed me. He kind of laughed.
You think he suspected you were like using AI? That's so funny.
I shared my screen and I showed him I wasn't. And I wasn't. I swear I wasn't. What do you think, Eric?
I mean, I have multiple. So just a few thoughts. I have multiple screens. When I'm talking to somebody, when I'm doing an interview, a lot of times I'll be typing and looking at here. But then when I'm addressing the person, just like in real life, I'll look at my screen where the person's face is being projected, and
Yeah.
I have this camera that drops down maybe a quarter way into the screen. Because I have these big monitors, and so when I'm looking at the screen, it almost looks like I'm making eye contact. But I'll be typing on other things here. But the captioning thing is interesting. I don't know if it makes it easier for you to maybe when you're interviewing with folks, you have a hard time understanding what they're saying, so you have to
I
refer to
do
the.
because it's also a retention issue, and I don't want people to know that I have some sort of issue. But I don't really need it. I've worked without it for most of my life. I don't need
Yeah.
it's nice to have it. So I guess I'll only look at it when I absolutely need it. Then they know, okay, for sure. I can even say, oh, I'm gonna look at the transcript for a moment. I think they'll
Yeah.
understand. But then that'll only be one time at most during the interview. The rest of the interview, I probably should not look at the captioning.
Yeah.
Only if I need to go back and look at their question.
Yeah. One comment on a comment that you made earlier about, interviews being a bit more conversational. What I found in my experience is that because I've done so many interviews,
Yeah.
like I can do sort of a conversational interview and get
Mhm.
what I want out of it or what I need out of it as an interviewer. Somebody that's earlier in their career in terms of interviewing, a lot of times their questions will be scripted. Like they'll either have them jotted down and they will go through them in some sort of usually just a linear sequence.
Yeah.
Question one, question two, question three. But somebody that's a little bit more experienced with interviewing, they could just have a conversation with you and they'll get the answer to number 5, then the answer to number 3, then the answer to number 10, and they'll get them however they wanna get it, but it'll flow a little bit better. And so, again, reading your, reading the recruiter in advance can help you give you a chance to maybe, um, know what to expect maybe. But this is just something that I thought about, and a lot of times I would just follow the recruiter's lead, you know, because they're trying to get something very specific out of you in 20 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever. And if you find that they're not like, if you find that they're rambling, which happens, right? Recruiters get tired sometimes. Maybe you're the 5th back-to-back interview that they've had, and so maybe a little bit tired. And so they're not as aggressive or proactive about getting what they want out of the interview. That's a disservice to you. So
Yeah,
if you suspect that they're just kind of less like, laid back, and that's a disservice to you. So if you find that they're not
yeah.
taking the lead, you take the lead and you make
Oh,
sure that they're getting what they need.
I guess I should have clarified. I made a mistake. The two people that accused me of reading off of an AI for my interviews were actually hiring managers, not recruiters. And I'm the one who's been accused of being mechanical and robotic. I don't know that
They
that.
accuse you directly,
Oh yeah,
like
they
are you
said
using AI?
he
Really?
said yes, very directly,
Wow.
in a somewhat nice way. They said, "Are you using?" They didn't say, you're using AI. They said, "Are you using AI? It looks like you're reading off of something based off your eyes, and you're also coming off as very mechanical and robotic. Your answers."
And to which you responded, "No, I'm not."
I actually even shared my screen, and I said, "I'm going to share my other monitor." He said, "That's okay," because I shared the screen and there was nothing.
Yeah.
Couldn't have X'd out of it that quickly. I was sharing it very quickly in no time.
I haven't encountered anything where I thought somebody was using AI yet. Almost
Yeah,
all my
I think
interviews
that's
are.
a very strong accusation. Once
It
you
is. That's
have that accusation, the interview is over. There's no point in continuing it. You may as well just thank the candidate and say, "Thank you, you're using AI, bye-bye." Because there's no way to
that's like
recover from that.
It does seem like a pretty strong accusation. On the other hand, if somebody was using AI during as part of their interview, I'd be curious to learn how they're using AI. Might not
They
necessarily
didn't even
get to the answer.
demonstrate that level of curiosity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you're like highly technically advanced, so you're
Exactly.
like, right? You could have AI stand in for you and do the interview for you.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah,
I mean, my
I mean,
answers
I
I'm flattered that they would think my answers are so good. They're not. And if they were, wouldn't they have hired me?
well, there's something to be said there, Chris, about like humor. And yeah, anyway.
I feel like it's
Uh
kind of
Yeah.
a red flag about the company culture, right? It's like, firstly, they're trying to, it seems kind of toxic. They're trying to catch you out as cheating, basically.
Okay, so
Um,
to respond next time, I'm flattered that you think my answers are so good. Because it's over anyway, the interview. What does it matter?
I mean, I
Well,
wouldn't
they
make that
knocked me
assumption
off of
necessarily.
what do you call it? My momentum, because I was
Yeah.
getting very fluid answers that were just flowing, but they were making, I guess. But I had the textbook answers ready, but they didn't
Yeah.
like them.
Well, yeah, I don't know what to say to that. Like Jordan was saying, like maybe it is a bit of a red flag of that hiring manager, especially depending on how that person's tone was with respect to the accusation
Yeah.
or the
One
question.
of them one of them was responding to emails on Outlook. I could hear it on his computer. Did I
Oh,
have
really?
out and said, "Are you responding to emails on Outlook on this interview?" After he said that? I should have said that. I heard him responding to emails on Outlook.
Yeah. I mean,
Um.
I wouldn't advise.
It might feel good in the moment to say it.
Yeah, it might feel good in the moment. Yeah. And so
uh,
that's. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, no, no. That I was just gonna say, like we're past time, so we don't. I don't want to keep you. It's
Yeah,
2:37. Would it be okay if I reached out to you, connected with you on LinkedIn,
absolutely. Yeah.
and I'm in the process of. I just joined my NSA, so I might ask you to be one of my recruiter people if you are free.
Yeah. Reach out to me. We'll try to arrange that.
If you're free, okay.
Yeah. And you're here in Salt Lake too, right? So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Reach out.
Awesome.
And again, I do this every week. It's good for me to kind of give back and share what, what perspective I might have, and
Plus, yeah,
um,
since you've been through the NSA process, and yeah, like I have
uh,
to still put my the two pager and get my
yeah,
like listening tour and all that. So that's like my next step.
okay, all right. All right, you guys. Appreciate you. Maybe see you next week. And actually, next week is
Next week is
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so maybe the week after. The
Thank
week
you so
after.
much, Eric, for doing
Thank you.
this. This was
Of
this was
course. All right.
perfect.
We'll talk
Bye.
soon.